Yes, that's good. Hello.
Great. Hello, Dr. Fleisch. God.
Hi, Marilee.
Hello, Dr. Fleisch. Thank you for being
Well, my
here.
name is Ruediger Fleisch. You can call me Ruediger.
Rudiger, thank you.
Yes, you're
Thank you for
welcome.
being here. It's my pleasure. Today, I want to have a conversation with you about health, self-healing from the perspective of medicine, psychology, yoga, and mindfulness. So, can you introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, uh, you mentioned it. My name is Ruediger Fleisch. I have a scientific background and a degree in human medicine. I hold also degrees in other scientific disciplines like political sciences, linguistics, psychology, and philosophy. So you see, I'm a curious person,
Wow.
and uh, and passion should be actually a subject which you could pick up at university. If this was possible, it would have been much easier for me. The passion to know, the passion to understand, and the passion to bring different perspectives together. So I've worked at University Hospital for 5 years, and uh, and I have been involved in HIV research. And after this, the wall had come down in this city, and you see the Brandenburg Gate in the background. And this is one of the results of this big convergence, where consciousness came together and some boundaries which were unthinkable to be dropped all of a sudden. And this happened in this city, and I'm happy to have witnessed this. My passion is actually to find how what's what are the crucial factors in our health, in our well-being. What are the driving components and elements? And I'm training people. I'm working with big companies. I coach CEOs. I also coach therapists, train therapists in what I call energetic and systemic tools. This is a very brand new method bringing different approaches together. I hope this is enough for an introduction. I'm, I'm not really feeling comfortable in introducing myself because other
Thank
people
you,
have to
Dr.
offer so
Fleisch.
much, so much, and so much more. And how about you? You are doing a great thing, and I'm happy we've met.
I can really resonate with what you said. I'm naturally a cat. I'm very curious, and I always want to know what's there, right? They say curiosity kills the cat. I always say satisfaction brings it back. So I have 9 lives. Yeah, so I'm often explore and learning new things and try to apply what I learned. So in the
Yep.
past 15 years, I'm more of going into the yogic path. While I'm academically trained as a computer scientist, engineer, I went on the path to explore how ancient yogic system affects our body and mind. And accidentally, it became my healing tool. So this is
Wonderful.
why then I go back to try to understand how brain and mind works to affect our body. So I want to bridge the science and as well as something else which oftentimes we don't call it science like yoga, but eventually if we understood they are actually science, right? There's embedded scientific proof behind all those yogic practices. So this is why I'm very fortunate that I get to know you, and we can try to help our viewers to understand different perspectives, especially on the topic of self-healing. So thank you so much being
Absolutely.
here.
So I absolutely share this passion for application. I think the methods are as good as they not only explain phenomena, and in self-healing there are a lot of um, phenomena which are unexplained still if you come from a traditional perspective of medicine, like placebo or nocebo. This is actually, it's a label for unexplained phenomena. And people like me, and there are many of them, I hope so, they feel challenged by these type of labels, and they want to produce results. They want to understand. They want to understand how these results are created. And of course, it is, as you say, there's a part of it is science, and another part of it is magic. And
Yeah.
you, science is a very science is an interesting phenomenon, because it has a kind of regulations and patterns of how to examine phenomena in this world, right?
Yeah, and doing
As the,
exploratory pilot studies, experiments, and
absolutely,
according to one of the psychiatrists that I learned from, he said a lot of times these solutions comes like serendipity. So it's
yes,
like just happened to be there and it worked.
exactly. And on the other hand side, this is, if you come from a scientific field, and I've worked in the scientific field, also with practical results. Uh, we hold a medical patent for a device to support stroke patients in their recovery process, and this is a patent which the European authority for patent law has approved and given to us. So we do that very practically. On the other hand side, science is always a little bit slower than what I would call a knowingness. And as far as I understand it, I'm fascinated by yoga. I'm fascinated by other practices like kinesiology, which is one of the best researched disciplines ever. Most people don't even know.
Yeah,
Um,
we gotta use our body as
and our
well as our
knowingness,
mind.
yes, our minds, I would say we use our consciousness in some ways without being aware. We are not aware that we are not aware what we are using actually. So it's the evolvement of our consciousness and the knowingness in our consciousness, which is faster, which the old disciplines, I would call them the ancient knowledge,
Yeah.
uh, are transporting, are conveying to us. And if we bring that together with the scientific approach, this would be a huge explosion of knowledge, of creativity, and together with computer sciences, as you said. I'm very impressed that you do that.
Thank
Because,
you.
yeah, because many people in science, they would have been happy. If you think back 30 years, 40 years, 50 years back, they didn't have the computer technology to go on with their research. And I think this is very, very important to have in mind also. And I think this may be one reason why I love to work with engineers. they are they are so different than I am on one hand side, and on the other hand side, we have that convergence. We see when we bring ancient knowledge, intuition, knowingness together with technology, all of a sudden
Yeah.
something happens. We can create results.
Yeah, I'm always very fascinated when I first heard about self-healing. My
Yes,
mind says, what is self-healing? Does that mean I'm giving myself a medicine? Or does that mean I no longer need medicine? What are the
right.
methodologies? Do I acknowledge I need healing? All those questions bubble up. Do I acknowledge I have problems? So I need to cure myself. So this is sometimes a bit difficult for self realization. Oh, I need healing. I have problems. And fundamentally, we all have some sort of trauma like embedded deep down that we might not realize. And from my personal experience, I have struggled for a long time not knowing that I have some trauma. And it only bubbled up after I took a lot of training, leadership training, and yogic training, and Buddhism study. All that come together, I realized there are many other tools besides medicine can be helpful for our both mind and body in the healing process.
And that's why you choose yoga. An interesting question. It's a great question you were raising. When you're young, you know, in the age of 2 and you're born healthy, the world is open, the world is a great garden, as Carl Gustav Jung says. And you hopefully have a great time in this garden. Normally, when you're young and you don't have problems, you do not think of self-healing. But some do. And that's what is called in psychology the wounded healers. You have to be a wounded healer. You have to have an experience when mostly in the age, boys in the age of 13, girls probably a little bit earlier or a little bit later, where your health, your existence is challenged to the root, to the core. And I found that very interesting in talking to colleagues and to therapists, and to find out those who have a kind of a very, very deep approach to that, and a curious approach and a mindful approach, they had experiences of being wounded in some ways. You know, it might be simple things. You were not allowed to choose the profession you wanted to choose. This can be a wound. It can be a wound that you were playing with a friend, and all of a sudden the friend had a severe accident. He fell down that barn, and he was close to, you know, to die. And you were thinking, and you went like, oh my God, what's going on? And wounded healers, they start to think about health very, very deeply. Anyway, people sooner or later, as health is one of the 3 components of well-being, healthy, wealthy, and wise are the 3 components I see everybody wants to have in their lives. It is a question: what can I do to prevent from diseases? Why do some people not gather a disease?
Yeah, certainly we don't know kids have chronic stress, you know, adults have chronic stress, and those are much later in our life stage. And kids usually don't have sleep problems, but adults do. Like, I cannot sleep, so we take sleep medicine and we can get depression. Kids don't have depression, no, most of the time, right? Most kids don't have depressed mood unless they actually grew in the environment that caused that. So
exactly.
yeah.
And how do you get it out of their system again? What makes them healing, and what makes their families healing? And this was one of the first questions I held in my professional life. Is there something like a blueprint for health in our system, in our consciousness somewhere? How does the body know this is not healthy?
Yeah, sometimes we only realize when our body had sickness, had illness. From my firsthand experience, I found yoga as a very healing tool. It's in our body, it's really accessible. And with that realization, I think, wow, now I do not depend on external substances for my own well-being. And I become a daily meditator in the past 5 years, and that really brings me so much joy in my life. And I think this is deep healing without external help, and that's freedom.
I understand what you say, and I'm congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think this really, and I think it's very important for people listening or watching this video to understand we are not selling a fundamentalistic way. I discern a distinction between 4 bodies we hold. The physical body, it's, if you feel sitting on this chair, and this is the physical body, and the physical body is a universe on its own. It is a biological universe. It's huge. It's gigantic. It has processes in itself which are just thrilling. I mean, if you understand some of that biochemical, processes, which one triggers the next, and so on and so forth. I mean,
Yes.
if you just if you try to understand happiness from a biochemical aspect, from a biochemical view, you go like, I'm going crazy about that miracle. It's wonderful.
Yes.
And if you can, and this is an interesting thing. The other body we have is the kind of emotional body. It's what we the emotions we hold, the feelings we have, and the sensations which we can perceive. The mental body, the way we think, is the third one. And then there's a group of bodies which I would summarize under the label spiritual body. So the thing is that medicine is taking care of the physical body, physical universe. The biological universe of the body can compensate a lot of disturbances coming in from the mental and emotional body, cannot be solved there. And this causes stress on the physical level. And the physical body can compensate for a long, long time. But after 25, 30 years, the physical body gets tired. The physical body might need some help in terms of pharmaceutical support. Someone comes and has a decompensated heart rate. What do? I mean, of course you teach him mindfulness. Great. That's a great thing to do. If you take also care of the physical side, right? Sometimes it might be really helpful for this person for a longer period of time to take some medication. So you see, I'm not thinking either or. I'm not joining this type of consciousness which goes like, either I can heal myself totally, what you can if you unfold your consciousness with the tools we apply. You do that very precisely, and everyone is capable to do that, but it takes a moment to grow into that. You know that from yoga. It's not like bong and it's there. You have to practice. So I suggest 14 tools to the people, basic tools to support that. And for another period of time, it might be helpful to have medical help from psychologists. And it's not either or. It's how do we bring the stuff together? Therefore, we have developed a self-test, Check My Energy, which is a self-test where you can find out the major components influencing specifically your immune system, lowering the self-healing forces, so to speak. And then you can choose, then you see where it comes from. Then you can choose, do I take yoga? Do I take energetic work? Do I take a normal psychotherapy? Do I go to just have a great vacation for 3 weeks and going rafting? And what we call a holistic protocol, an individual holistic self-healing protocol, so that you yourself see where are these factors influencing. Is it a spiritual question? Who am I? Is it on the in the mental body? Is it in the emotional body? Is it in the cooperation of the mental emotional body, which might be disturbed? Or is it already manifested too far in the physical where you should really, sometimes you need a surgery, maybe. But the surgery with yoga and prepared is something completely different. than doing it without it. And having nothing to follow up with is a complete different approach. That's, you know, that's what we also do with our energetic work. We prepare people, we guide them through, and we have gathered enough cases where we accomplished results with the people which they themselves were surprised about.
Like there is a process in yoga
Yeah.
we call practice, right? Like antibiotics, you need to take 5 or 7 days of dosage. You can't take 2 days and say, oh, it doesn't work. You're right, it doesn't work if you take only 2 days. But oftentimes we're so impatient with the process. We have shorter and shorter attention span, right? Less and less patient. That itself will create a lot of unforeseen illness. That's my observation.
I think it's a very smart observation. I can agree completely with you. I would just put it in my words. I think what I have observed with my kids when they were, you know, when they had a disease, when they, you know, like, I don't know, some of the children's diseases. After that disease, they had made a leap in consciousness. They were a different person, right? And the same
I
is
think
true for people who were not able to deal with this environment on the mental, on the emotional body, with the mental emotional body, or could not bring it together with who they are, which is actually a doorway to open up. But most people have not had the chance to become aware in which box of consciousness the environment is, that some values, aspects the environment holds are not necessarily theirs. And they have not had the chance to deal with that in a different way. So this has created diseases. You know, you were born with ease, but then there came the dis-ease, and the hyphen was in there. And in the end, the hyphen was dropped and it was a disease. But now,
that's
how do you
right.
get out? And you need practice, as you say. You need a time and you need support. And the more precise the support is, the more powerful it is, and the more precise it is, the better it is. And that's why I look forward to offer some sessions for people here where we bring that together, that practice of yoga, energetic tools, and a deeper understanding of who I am. Because consciousness, health is a function of your consciousness, not the other way around.
That's right.
And the more you widen your consciousness, and then you become precise in what you do internally with these energetic or systemic tools we offer, then all of a sudden you understand more about yourself, you understand more about the world, you understand, and you reach a different level of influence. That's very interesting. I'm sure a lot of people understand what we are talking about here.
So we come to the end of the time. I want to know how and what kind of program do you have that can support our community members or viewers of this video?
Well, what I would like to offer is, we have what I've mentioned. We have 14 tools, twice times 7. And I would offer these tools to people who are interested in health processes, but also in growing their own consciousness, and bring it together with your yoga practices. This is one thing. And another thing is, people can have that test. And if there is a need, if there is a specific question, we can also work on their specific question and develop what we call a self-healing protocol, holistic protocol for them. But first, I would say, let's have fun exercises, tools. Let's have a new way of thinking. Let's have a practice, constant practice. And then we can approach questions like, I have panic attacks. I have depressions. My children feel so unwell in the presence of what shall I do? The teachers do not know how to deal with my kids. My kids do not know how to deal with school. There is an anxiety in this regard. We can deal with these questions then after let's say the first 7 tools we have practiced. This is what I
Okay.
would love to offer with you
Thank you,
together.
doctor. Thank you. So how can people get in touch with you? Do you have a website or email?
Yes, I have a website. I have email. Yes, and we have a website. It's called www.plus-ultra-global.com. My email address is office@fleisch-und-partner.
Great. Thank you so much, Ruediger. And it's my pleasure to talk with you about self-healing and all the holistic perspective about self-healing. So from my side, I'm the founder of Happy Yoga Life, and you can find me at www.happyyoga.life. And I have a Facebook group. It's called Yoga at Home. I will also put the link in the description. And I have daily practice, and we have daily yoga classes. So I'll also put that on the description. You can also find that on the website. And here, if you're on my YouTube channel, you can find a lot of my already recorded yoga classes. And so keep in touch. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you, Dr. Fleisch.
Thank
Namaste.
you, Mary. Namaste.